you in just a second.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
I know, this is a horrible dance. Like, I don't know why I try. I hate the little intro dance.
You just made her really self-conscious. That was a great dance. That was really good.
Support you.
I know, you gotta have something to one-up me on
Is
today.
it embarrassing that I really like this song intro? I think about it in my sleep.
Really?
About it.
This gets you pumped up
It
to
gets
wake
me
up in the
pumped.
morning? I get that.
I sing it randomly during the day.
It's a very motivating song.
It's real good.
Nothing wrong with that.
Don't judge me.
Hey guys, welcome in. A few of us on the panel tonight have some celebrating to do. One does not, and we'll get all into the meat of that in a minute. And he's just hating me more and more with every time I speak a word.
I'm sorry. Did you say something?
My name is Jenna Bussiere, your host tonight. You can find me on Twitter at Jenna_Bussiere. To my left.
I am the #1 NFL AFTERBUZZ TV host. I think that's how that works,
he's
right?
humble.
You can find me on Twitter
You
at
are?
Steve Kaufmann. That is KAUFMANN, right? If I'm representing the Philadelphia Eagles and they're the
I was
#1
gonna say,
team in football.
You were out there this weekend. You personally won the game for them?
No,
or-
but if I'm the host representing the
Okay.
Philadelphia
See,
Eagles,
it's already
very
getting spicy
good.
right now
The
because
playoff-
someone has some
yeah.
confidence now and they feel like they can challenge someone. It's the symbolic
playoff
symbolism there.
clutch time is starting to rise, so it's very tense for us right
Yes,
now. But
yes.
DeAnjilo, what's going on?
Sure, I'll intro myself. Why not?
Yeah.
I'm DeAnjilo. Hit me up on Twitter at DeAnjilo TV and on Instagram at DeAnjilo. And I'm your Redskins fan, so here we are.
So here he is. He is representing his squad. The Giants were on a bye this week, and just like the Giants, Josh just, I
Didn't
guess,
show up.
thought that he could not show up today. Taking the long mental break. I mean, they are back to practice this week, so he's still mentally not ready to be here for us, but we
Understandable.
understand.
Understand.
And we will jump then right into the Cowboys-Redskins game this Sunday afternoon, dubbed America's Game of the Week. Cowboys got away with this one 33-17. And the reason I say
19?
got a 19?
Or 17.
I thought it was 17.
No, you're right. You're right. You're right.
Oh, trying to sneak a few extra
Give me my
points in
2
there.
points.
The reason I say got away with is because we had the blueprint to for sure win this game. And it ended up being a 7-point game up until the last 30 seconds of the game until Byron Jones got the pick six on Kirk Cousins. So with all of the offensive line damages and all of the injuries the Redskins were suffering from, I'm sorry, I'm
What?
just saying, you're giving me a little look.
I'm not giving you a look.
It
She's
was
sensitive.
bumpier. It was bumpier than expected for the Cowboys, but we ended up sneaking this one out thanks to our defense.
Were you nervous? Would you say?
Was I nervous?
Like even that last possession?
I was tense. I was
Interesting.
kind of deep breathing. I felt like we had it, but you still never know. Only 7 points. Like that would be an opportunity for us to lose it and drop the ball, literally. But as I mentioned, let's take a look. We have a list of the inactives that were Sunday. So this is one of the main reasons, you know, the Redskins were suffering this weekend.
Lots
there
of
was
offensive linemen.
a total of 7 injuries. And as you were mentioning,
I didn't even know. Brashard Breeland. I didn't even know.
Yes,
He was hurt. No, that explains a lot.
it does.
I know we're gonna get into it a little bit, but I'm when you've been in a damaged relationship for so long, you expect the worst. So I don't think I'm too hurt. I'm disappointed, but it was an interesting showing. So much to break down, I think. But I think a lot of people expected the Cowboys to kind of find a way to stick it out, and they did, because I feel like they're still a bit more talented on the offensive side than the Washington Redskins.
Well, as we see on the list, 3 of those injuries being offensive linemen, and Trent Williams, obviously your Pro Bowl tackle, is a
Need him.
huge miss for this weekend. How much do you owe the loss, I guess, to the line, or do you? Because I honestly felt like they played better than expected.
Yeah, I don't think that was the reason they lost.
Okay.
there were way too many
Yeah, there were a
interceptions
lot
to
of
blame the
reasons.
front four.
Yeah. A lot of drops or just receivers not showing up the way I would have liked them to, and it's kind of been a consensus. But that momentum shift was the kick, the block kick. That was pretty much the whole shift in the momentum.
Yeah.
I
So
would have been screaming if I was
I
you.
would, because like I've mentioned on this show, turnovers and stops were a big thing that were missing from the Dallas Cowboys game plan.
Yeah.
That was something that we needed to happen. We can make it happen on offense all the time. Our defense, a little bit shaky, but we could at least
get a couple
hold some
turnovers.
teams
Yeah.
to field overs. Yeah, or field goals. Yes, turnovers, necessity. And this blocked kick was phenomenal, and this was the first blocked kick for the Dallas Cowboys since 2015.
Oh, that's
since
great.
a Thanksgiving game versus the Panthers.
And it
the
wasn't
first
just
block
the block,
kick.
it was the return.
The
fact that he
return.
got it to the other side of the field.
Orlando Scandrick
Yeah.
runs this back. I believe it was 86 yards. This is huge. This is something you hope for as a fan. And for it to actually happen and be executed this well, like you said, momentum changer, complete game changer in this game.
Also, I want to point out, this is something special teams don't really plan for. Special teams plan for how to, like, obviously the kicker plans to how to kick the ball in a way that it's not battable.
Block, yeah.
And, like, special teams plan for, like, what and when this goes wrong, that goes wrong. Very rarely do they actually plan for, okay, the opposing team got the ball.
How do we get him tackled?
Like, how do, like, we all need to know on a dime to be able to just turn around and stop them. And, I mean, I don't know. That's
And
like
that's
a
why
real
you
black
see-
hat a real black hat kind of preparation that I don't think every
Yeah.
team does.
Yeah.
And that's why you see a lot of the times it's the quarterback running back to whoever blocked the kick, or sometimes, block gets the interception to make that tackle, which is a quarterback. What do? They have no business in the tackling game, but sometimes they're so unprepared, and it's just the last effort you have to give to be able to stop that turnover.
Just that momentum shift from potentially getting, I mean, even if you go back to that third down, either going up, getting a touchdown, 20-7, or flip it, at least getting it to 16-7 to now you guys have the lead at halftime. Like, that's pretty difficult to recover from.
Yep, it could have been a 9-point lead for the Redskins, and instead it's a Dallas Cowboys touchdown. Which it was a little bit of a trend this week. Our defense came up big.
Yeah.
They are responsible for this win. So we have the blocked punt, and then we also have an interception. Byron Jones, 30 seconds left, picked off Kirk Cousins, brought back for the 6 points, which was I think it was his second interception of his entire career and his first pick six of his entire career.
And the kickoff return fumble.
Kickoff return
Thompson,
fumble. Also, I believe we recovered 2 fumbles and put us in position to score.
Defensive special team really showed up.
Huge for us, and we ended up only settling for the field goals in those instances, which sucks.
Good job on our defense.
Yeah. But it was really our defense was the game changer this week for us.
If I were to pinpoint it's very difficult to point to someone and say, you guys are the reason we lost. But as a Skins fan, I think most would feel that we were disappointed in our receivers. Like, just some momentum dropping plays. Like, I remember Josh Doxson, he had an opportunity. Just stuff that would get Kirk Cousins in rhythm. Terrell Pryor, it was an important third down and he caught the ball out of bounds. It was just like little things like that. Now, this is one of those games where you can't really point at one specific thing, but I think as a Skins fan, I'm looking at the receiving core and be like, man, if you guys showed up, made those couple of plays where we were starting to drive, then things would have fallen a different direction, or we would have been able to compete in the second half. But I think big picture wise, like, I know we'll get into this, but the Seahawks, I've talked about this several weeks, but Seahawks next week, then you have the Vikings, and you got the Saints.
We got the upcoming
it's
schedule.
like it's either this is going to go really badly or this team is going to. Yeah, we haven't beaten a good team yet because I don't count the Raiders. Personally, because they haven't shown to be actually.
They were a really good team at the point that you beat them, though. So you really
yeah.
can't just
Well,
credit
they beat the
yourselves
Rams
for that.
too. Yeah, so.
Yeah, the Rams is a good win. I mean, you guys started off the season pretty strong and had high hopes.
Right. So we'll see what happens, but it's definitely, it could either implode or, that's kind of the fear, is like it could actually implode because there's no break in the schedule. Even we have the Giants 2 times, but that's a division matchup. You can't really say that that's a gimme.
And given the situation with the Giants right now.
Right.
And given who the Giants have beaten. Yes, the Giants are 1-6.
One team.
Who they beat.
But like,
Who
well,
Yeah.
But like,
so good.
the Giants aren't a team to just like laugh at.
Right.
Like, I honestly,
we can't afford to.
Like, I honestly give them a lot of credit as a team. That I'm building them up so that when my team beats them,
it's a big deal.
Or
it's like it's a huge deal.
Yes,
like
you've been so silent. Look, you're just so happy.
Oh, I enjoy
it. Say he's got the division up. Oh, is it 7-1 right there? Wow.
He's just staring
Yeah, he's
at
really just
the
looking at the
Eagles
win percentage. Wow.
sitting on top of the league right now.
6-game winning streak. That's impressive. How does that feel?
87.5%. It's kind
So
of
disappointing.
It's kind of surreal because they're talking this is the best start for the Philadelphia Eagles since 2004. And mind you, in 2004, that was McNabb, that was Terrell Owens,
Yep.
that was 3 NFC Championship games. Like, we were really primed for that year, whereas this year we have a sophomore quarterback,
Yeah.
sophomore coach.
Yeah.
I don't have words yet. I'm a little, and also like a Philly fan always kind of has a chip on their shoulder about like, oh, my team's the underdog. Like nobody takes my team seriously. Like just give us a chance. Like I would be more comfortable with my team being 3-4, and then just being very frustrating of like, but when they go, man, they go.
Right.
So when
The
they're
Wentz wagon, all aboard.
I've been aboard.
Everyone is aboard. I mean, if you're a Philly fan, how could you not be?
It's fun to watch too. It's balling,
Before we truly move on to the Eagles, a few more notes from the Cowboys game. Again, we mentioned the defense. I just want to throw some stats out there. I'm sorry. Just want to give credit where credit is due.
You're like the nicest Cowboys fan ever.
Finally, I am seeing because I get it.
Liking you more, like disliking you more because you're so nice
Because
about
I
it.
get it. There's nothing.
Be obnoxious.
No, there's nothing that I hate more is when this happens. We get a few good wins, so we're on a 2-game win streak, and people start saying, Super Bowl, this is
that's
our
true.
year, baby. I'm like, let's relax.
Yeah.
This is sports. You never know what could happen. Perfect season, Patriots, 16-0, and they lose the Super Bowl. Like, you never know.
You're the not typical Cowboys fan. I'm sorry. I'll point it out right now.
I think it's
I didn't know
because
this existed.
Cowboys fans historically are
Super
very
irrational.
much about what they've
absolutely.
done.
That's why I don't like to be like that. And growing up around so many other fans in the NFC East, you can't talk trash because when it comes back hard on you because you're the odd one out.
Yeah.
But going back, we got some stats I want to mention. 4 sacks, 8 hits on the quarterback from the Dallas defense. We got DeMarcus Lawrence, who is now the leading sack leader in the NFL with 10.5 sacks. So big credit to him because our pass rush is improving, and we need that. It's very essential to our defense right now. And so we did get the 1 pick 6, but there was 2 near interceptions. Jalen Smith, who was kind of having a rookie year because he was hurt last year, almost had an interception, as well as Taco Charlton, our first-round draft pick, who hasn't done anything for us this season. I don't even think he's had a tackle yet. Literally nothing for us, and he finally has a near interception, but I believe it bounced on the ground first before dropping into his hands. But I was pumped up for a second. Still, Taco got away with this one, not really being much of a difference maker in this game.
In the NFL.
Huh?
Top names in NFL. No
Taco.
doubt.
Yeah,
When did he do the taco celebration? Was that preseason when he did that? I remember he did the taco celebration with some sack. And he served his teammates tacos.
It must have
That
been.
That was preseason. It must have been.
I was gonna say I don't fall too much into the preseason.
But it probably
trap.
couldn't have been last year.
It's fake news.
Yeah.
It couldn't have been last
He
year.
had a great
though, 'cause,
preseason actually. No, it wasn't.
yeah.
Well,
Because this is
gotta
the
pack
year
it
of the
on this
celebration in
season.
NFL,
Yeah,
where you're
yeah.
allowed to have extravagant
Yeah.
celebrations again.
Oh, and something else that I found interesting, which I don't know if you guys caught, Zeke fumble on the very first snap
Yep.
of the game.
Was feeling good about
Only
that.
his second fumble of his entire career. Guess who handed him his only other fumble? The Redskins. So it was very
We have a reputation,
appropriate.
We dominate Zeke on the first play, but then after that, he does everything else.
But he made up for it with 150 yards in that game and 2 touchdowns, which now I believe his suspension is still up in the air. I thought it was solidified that it was reinstated today.
Right.
But now the
Another,
Players Association is putting in another appeal with the 2nd District Court.
Shout out to Star Drew in our chat who's saying, huge blow today. Zeke Elliott is out for 6 games from now on. I'm going to see what the most absolute recent, because with Ezekiel Elliott, you can never know.
He's already appealed. I know that for a fact.
Yo, he absolutely
Yes. He's
appealed,
already
but
appealed.
the legal question becomes, are you allowed to play while you appeal?
Well, he has been.
this
He's
is
been on
gonna
appeal
trickle-
this entire time.
It's going to trickle down to the playoffs.
think?
Assuming you guys get there.
then-
it's definitely going to happen. He's going to get suspended this season, I think.
It'll
Okay.
be easier to suspend him in the offseason, because then he won't, because then there will be like, well, what are you going to do in January?
Yeah.
To
But,
let
like-
this year kind of sit and play out, let him play, and then reevaluate after.
So there was an injunction request that was denied. This was 4 hours ago from ESPN.com. The NFL Players Association files an appeal,
Right.
because I think the injunction was what put him on the field.
Right.
Because why are they not going to appeal? They're going to defend him until the end. He wants to play. The Cowboys think that he's essential the way the schedule is going to continue for the rest of the season. I mean, he's now had 2 breakout games. He's had the touchdowns in the last 2 games, and we need him in the backfield. But I think with our depth, we might be okay.
This is going to be an unpopular opinion, but I think for fairness' sake, if an injunction can put him back on the field and has put him back on the field for this many games, make him serve 6 games starting next season.
Just start fresh.
Because it wouldn't, let's say they do make the playoffs, which they won't. They're the Cowboys.
I'm not going to say anything. I've
that
learned
would-
my lesson that a Cowboy fan don't
But
talk
he needs-
trash in the NFC East.
But he needs courtroom intervention every week to actually step onto the field. That's not fair to the defense. That's not fair to the defense he goes up against. That's not fair to the coaches he goes up against. That's not fair to the team.
Nobody knows how to prepare.
It's not fair to the other running backs who don't know if they're actually going to start. That's not fair to anyone. And I'm kind of coming around on this NFLPA stuff. Like, because I remember last time I was here, I talked about how the NFLPA is such a strong union that they're fighting for someone who likely did terrible things.
Right.
But now I'm kind of like, but you're fighting for one person literally at the sake of 30 people every week, 60 people every week.
What they're representing is bigger than
That I think
the domestic violence charges.
they should literally say, you know what? He plays, and if there's going to be a court battle, the court battle is going to start week 17. It's going to start once the season is over.
I mean, I can't read too much into any of this. I mean, as I mentioned on the show, you guys know where I stand. I am for the suspension being reinstated, even though that can be very detrimental to us. Given the accusations that are so strong and that it comes down to domestic violence, I think that the NFL does need to make a difference and start setting the path for not allowing players to behave in this kind of conduct. So I get it, and it might suck for us, but it also might not. And this could be a big underdog story. Maybe we'll turn it around and we'll end up having a great season with or without Zeke. But
There's some great backups. I mean, Alfred Morris.
yeah, and with all the headlines, oh, it's reinstated. Oh, it's appealed. Oh, he's eligible again. Oh, now the suspension starts today. You honestly never know. I don't know when we will know. Maybe if Roger Goodell gets on the TV and says, everybody, Zeke is absolutely 100% suspended.
But the league, he speaks for the league and the league speaks for him. That's kind of what happened by him getting suspended to begin with.
I don't believe that it's actually a distraction to the team, to Dallas. I mean, I think this is a norm one to have some type of off-the-field distraction, but it just doesn't. I haven't seen anything to point that this is preventing the team's productivity on the field. Like I don't. And then from the standpoint of it being unfair to teams, that's just part of the game. Like you don't know, sometimes they make game time decisions on injuries. So I think I know he said that going through this process has bothered him a little bit, but it doesn't show on the field. So but we've already talked about this, and I definitely think it should be, because of what it's representing, he should just let it happen. But my fear for you guys, not that I have too much empathy for you, but is that it will trickle into the playoffs, and that's when you want them. Like right now, I feel like you should be able to figure it out during the season.
And it doesn't seem like we've strategized too heavily around the possibility that we will lose him, because he's taken almost all the snaps. Alfred Morris has barely gotten in there. Darren McFadden has been on the inactive list the entire season, probably until this week, until this Zeke suspension is reinstated. And a lot of the play calling has been in Zeke's favor. Like we saw against the Redskins, they only attempted 22 passes on Sunday. So it seems like they're like, give it to Zeke. So they're not really preparing for the possibility of losing him, which is what my concern is. But not going to get too crazy about it. Week at a time. Let's see what happens. One more thing I do want to mention is there was so much hype always around Josh Norman and Dez Bryant. And Dez Bryant was held to 4 receptions this week, but Norman wasn't even on him. So Quentin Dunbar is covering Dez this whole game.
That's more of a reflection of Dez Bryant not being that big of a threat, as big of a threat in his offense, I think, personally. Because he did have opportunities, he didn't deliver. So why does Josh Norman need to fly around him, on him, when he's not the guy that Dak is looking at, nor is he proven to be the guy that needs that type of attention? Like, your offense is not predicated on him. Obviously, Zeke is the first option, but even after that, I wouldn't say he's the first receiving option.
I think that comes with Dak coming in as well, being able to spread the ball. I mean, Cole Beasley was #1 last year. Seeing Witten a lot, seeing Bryce Butler. I mean, Dez is now just a role player instead of the guy.
As a fantasy owner of Dez Bryant, I think he is the #1.
I have him too.
I have him and Dak Prescott, because it's a 2 quarterback league. It's all silly. So I have Carson Wentz, Dak Prescott, and Dez Bryant. That's my top 3.
But I liked this moment from this weekend. So the Dez, Josh Norman hype fell very flat. There wasn't a lot of beef. But we have a little bit of a new, a rookie and a second-year player of this Redskins. This Redskins-Dallas rivalry. We have Josh
Catch
Doxson.
the ball. I don't care about you getting in somebody's face.
And Anthony Brown. Oh, that's a little too soon, Bree. We got our 49ers fan engineer in the booth. Oh, okay.
Well,
Well, anyway, so we got a little Dachshund Anthony Brown drama, and I kind of liked it because this is the drama we all like to see. We like to see guys go at each other a little bit. So the rivalry fell short between Des and Norman, but I like that we had this little action. I said, "Ooh, we got a new one
little
coming in
spice.
here. Is this going to keep happening if they keep covering each other throughout their rivalry in the next few seasons?"
Yeah. He needs to catch the ball.
I'm with
I
you.
really don't care.
Like-
catch the ball first, and then I'll be invested in that. I like Josh Norman because he backs up what he says.
Yeah, talk about what you've done, not what
Yeah.
you're gonna do.
Yeah, he's
That-
still on potential right now.
I mentioned Terrell Owens once tonight. That was my biggest complaint. That was always my biggest complaint with Terrell Owens as a person, like off the microphone, is Philadelphia fans will not appreciate you if you talk about what you've done. Or sorry, if you talk about what you're gonna do. I'm gonna do this. I'm the best. I'm the best. I'm this. I'm that. I'm this. I'm that. That's great. What'd you do yesterday? I dropped the ball 4 times,
Yeah.
but it's a Super Bowl hangover, and McNabb was mean, and blah blah blah. Or that's how he got ran out.
That's
of
how
that
you
town.
feel. Tia
I've
was
never-
the boss with you guys.
I mean,
What are
I've
you
never-
talking about?
I'm talking about the year.
the last year?
There were 2 years he was there. The first year, yes, he was an absolute stud for us. The year after,
Yeah.
when we didn't even have a winning season,
Yeah.
and he got driven out of town.
Never understood athletes doing that in general because, again, it's like trash talking before your team plays. Then what if they lose miserably? It's like you're going out there saying you're going to have this huge day and then you drop 4 passes. That looks really bad on your part.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know, to defend them. Or I guess because I'm that type of person, I really like defending it. Like, what am I supposed to say? No, I don't think I'm going to be effective? Like, what do you...
But there's a difference between I think I'm going to be effective because I've
Or
done
saying,
the work.
"I'm
I've
the
done.
best,"
Like if
you
it's
know?
Friday night and I'm talking to you about a Sunday game and you tell me like I'm going to be effective because I've worked really hard this week. I had a great game last week. I watched a lot of film. I'm ready to win this. Like I'm ready to do it this Sunday. Terrell Owens never did that. What Terrell Owens would do is like I'm gonna score 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 touchdowns. I might even line up a running back. Like I don't even know. Like I'm the greatest of all time. Like I'm gonna just do it. Like
When you
that's.
put it that way, though, it actually sounds really fun. And I
Yeah,
kind of
think I
like this
it.
funk
Oh,
and
no,
the
it
attitude.
Makes the game fun.
It does.
I mean, if we had a bunch of Larry Fitzgeralds, it'd be a very boring league.
We got over it for a year when he was doing most of the things
as a-
he said he
as a
was gonna
fan,
do.
For you, as your team, I can understand it, but it's very entertaining for us.
I agree.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
I loved him on all the other teams he was
when
on.
he came
Yeah.
in, he was like, oh,
When he
God.
left.
Yeah, there hasn't been a personality like that since, I don't think.
I think they've curbed personalities like that since.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
it
that's
didn't,
why
it didn't
they
work out well for him either.
banned the celebrations and everything. Moving on, we got Eagles versus 49ers. They got
Yawn.
the 33-10 win, but it was kind of close in the beginning. It almost looked like the 49ers D was getting on Wentz.
It was raining. I'm just gonna.
Did it actually, or?
Not in the end, no. So it was
Okay.
3-0 first quarter, and by halftime it's like 17-0. So
Well, it was 3-0. It was raining. Carson Wentz got intercepted, which is pretty rare. I think it's the second interception this season, like 3rd or 4th of his whole career. Like Carson Wentz, like. And then it was raining, and that's to be expected. It was a wonky game. The San Francisco defense isn't a joke by any stretch of the imagination, and then pretty much within like the last 2 minutes of the second quarter, we get that touchdown, we get that pick six, we get that touchdown. We miss the extra point, so then we go for 2, we get 2, and now we're back. And pretty much from the third quarter on, we're the Eagles team we were last week. We're
That's
the
what-
Eagles team we all want to see. What I like to call them is the no worry Eagles team, because of these 7 wins, correct me if I'm wrong, but 5, if not 6 of them have been decided by the third quarter, where we just won.
Yeah.
That's the team as a fan you want to watch. You don't want to, like, this World Series, I'm happy I don't have a dog in the fight, because it's really fun to watch
you
when
have
you're
to
like,
stay up
what?
until 2 a.m. if you're on the
Come
East
on.
Coast to watch it. But that's what is one of the things that's so great for you and annoying for the rest of us is that the Eagles are so good at adjusting to whatever team they're playing and getting back into the game if there are instances that they're falling short. So, like, okay, Carson Wentz taking a little bit of a beating, but they got right back in and they have the lead 17-0 by halftime. Like, they're able to recoup, adjust, and still make it done on offense.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he did get beat up a little bit more than usual. I think he had 7 QB hits. You were missing Jason Peters.
Yes.
So, going to get used to seeing, you know, how
A
the
little more.
O-line will work in his absence.
Which is unfortunate because that front 4 is pretty awesome.
I remember when we had you in 2 weeks ago, the idea of Super Bowl just frightened you. Has your expectations changed in the past 2 weeks for your team?
Playoffs.
It's just playoffs. Hmm?
Maybe even when we ride, because we are only midway through the season.
Right.
My expectation is, at the highest possible way, they can ride being number one all the way to a home field advantage playoff.
Okay.
Possibly, like that's the extent of my expectation.
Do you need a playoff win, or you don't need
I'm
it?
not there yet.
Okay.
Talk to me. talk to me
It's
in late.
overwhelming to
Good for
him.
you.
Yeah, so-
Talk to me in like.
You guys are way too reasonable sports fans. I'm not like
No, that's just me.
No, I understand.
In Philadelphia, most
No,
Philadelphia
you're right.
fans
You are absolutely correct.
Because we're scared sports
and
fans.
it's a
That's
long
what it
season.
sounds
It's
like.
a marathon. We have 8 more games to go. A lot happens in 8 games.
We really do.
like anything can happen at any one of these games. I don't want. And I've talked as well about the Super Bowl being the moon, and I think people have tweeted at me about it. That I think it also comes with the fact that I'm from Philadelphia, which is a team that under Andy Reid has been to the NFC Championship like 5 times,
Right.
and been to the Super Bowl once.
Right.
That there's very much.
And how many Super Bowl wins do you have?
Overall.
We have
can't
one.
remember.
I believe we have 2 NFL championships.
Oh wow, you have to go over. No,
What?
Super Bowls.
No, rings.
We have.
You guys have the push pop rings.
We
That's
have.
one of my favorite
we have
memes
2.
ever. Did you ever
We
see
have
that?
2 NFC championships.
So 0 is what I'm hearing coming out of your mouth. Yeah, I understand why you're a little traumatized.
We went to the
Yeah.
NFC. We
This was always the go-to argument at school when people wanted to talk about. Oh wow. When people wanted to talk about the Redskins and like how crappy we were, and if it was an Eagles fan, I'd be like, "You have no Super Bowl rings. We got
Yep.
3. Shut up."
But is that not the best thing to
That's all I
hang
can say.
over everybody's head? You
Yeah.
win the argument outright right there.
Yeah,
like
that's
that's it.
not
Name
really
of
because
the game.
I've primed all of you to devalue the literal Super Bowl. I've devalued the
How
Super
did you
Bowl.
do that?
All
when
right, Steve,
I
you won.
equate it
You
to the
got
moon.
this. Okay.
We're the best team in the NFL.
Yeah,
Come at me.
Your defense came up big, so Wentz took a little bit of a beating. Nothing compared to poor C.J. Beathard. Sacked 4 times, took 12 hits and 2 interceptions. So defense, show-stopping. Jalen Mills, pick 6, which that was a nice pick 6. I think we have a highlight. The way he ran that back was awesome, and I heard him say in an interview that he thought about just going down. Oh, that wasn't the pick 6. That was
That's just
McLeod's.
Yeah.
He thought about going down, but then his teammates were giving him such a hard time about his return skills. So as he had the ball, he was saying, you know what, I'm going to go for this because they're all making fun of me that I have no return skills or didn't get any interception or pick 6 this season. So let's make it happen. So that was nice. That was a really nice run back from him because you see if we have the highlight, he has to weave in and out a few guys.
Oh, this was beautiful. Like we talk a lot about momentum plays. This was the momentum play
Yeah.
because he picks it off at a crucial time because at this point the game is 9-0,
I just love
not
this run
10-0,
back.
Nice
Like,
return. It was.
such a
It
nice
was.
return.
and he just decided, nope, I'm
In
gonna
and out, still sneaks it through, breaks several tackles.
like Wentz wasn't really clicking in the first half,
was
so it was really
momentum.
important for him to actually grab the football. And you know what? I'll do his job today.
Yeah, because Wentz has done so much for you guys. I mean, might as well have the defense compensate for it, get some points on the board themselves.
I wonder at what point in the game the 49ers were like, "Yeah, let's get Jimmy Garoppolo."
Ah, Jimmy Garoppolo.
Like I wonder when it happened. Like was it that throw? Like,
I think
was
it
before
was-
the game.
I think it was the other interception we
was-
just saw.
the-
I think
okay,
that
the-
was the one.
They were like, "All right, let's go get it."
And
Let's
you
go.
know what the
Second round
Jimmy-
pick. Let's do it.
The
and
Jimmy
then this
G trade
this 2-point
also
conversion as well.
is, so I guess Kirk, because there was some
Yeah.
belief that Kirk might be making his way to the West Coast in
was
the
reading
future
about that.
seasons. But it looks like Jimmy G stole that, so Kyle Shanahan went with somebody else. I don't know. Obviously, we don't know what's going on. We
Yeah.
are not in the front offices of any NFL teams. This is all speculation. But it seems like they may have picked one guy over the other. We do have a little Wentz graphic. Again, all aboard the Wentz wagon. Whoop,
Since
whoop.
week 2.
Only a
Also
second
happy about
season
the
in the
Alshon
league.
Jeffries touchdown. He's on my fantasy team.
Me too.
That's been a tough
So they
season for
finally
me.
had a nice connection
Yeah.
this week. Wentz, look at these stats. 2,063 yards, 19 touchdowns. The only quarterback in Eagles history to throw 18 touchdowns in his first 8 games
Does
of
he-
the season.
Does he win MVP if he keeps his pace?
Absolutely.
Is there any argument against?
I don't think so.
If they picked it right now, there'd be no argument
Who else
against
are we
him.
thinking right now? Alex Smith was the only other candidate,
Well, yeah,
and
they're on a 2-game losers. Well, they won.
they're
Monday,
back on
but,
it,
Yeah.
which was a sloppy game. Yeah, that was fun to watch, though. All right, But you guys have some news. You got some trade news.
Ooh.
Got a
You
running
want to
back.
talk about it?
Yeah, you first.
Well, okay, all right. Well, I'll talk about you guys because
Oh, I was going to talk about the Jay
Jay
trade
trade.
specifically, and then we can get more into around the league
Yeah,
trades
we'll
a
do
little
that,
bit later.
I mean, how do you feel about the
Yes,
trade?
are
Getting
you
Jay
excited? Exactly.
I'm excited about this. When did this happen? I'm sorry.
Wait, what? You don't know that this happened?
I don't think he knows.
Well, this
Yeah, today.
happened this morning. I woke
For-
up to a breaking news alert
Yeah.
from NFL app.
And they
Breaking
gave
news.
up,
JJ, I don't understand this for Miami.
That's what I think I was watching First Take as well about this, so I'm not going to take this argument from him, but there's got to be something more there, either like something wrong in the locker room, because they're in the middle of a playoff run, at least in their eyes. And so, like, I don't get why they gave him up for just a 4th-round pick. It was really weird.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What they're getting in return, 4th-round pick. Also, I know he's not projecting the same numbers as last year, not even by a long shot, but he's still kind of all you guys got right now. I mean, Jarvis Landry as a receiver, but what else? What other run game do you have?
That was a really weird decision.
It really seemed like not in the benefit of Miami.
I do know that Adam Gase called them out after their loss, and he said that he's always looking for the home run ball as opposed to running through the tackles. So I don't know if that has something to do with it. They had a little, maybe their relationship is torn,
Yeah.
but you should be able to work through it with a talent like that.
Yeah, I think there was probably some organization drama with that.
Yeah.
Because I think there was speculation too that JJ was unhappy with the play calls this year and not getting
I have
enough handoffs. But
Yeah.
All right, I read up. I really like it.
Okay. I do have I'm not necessarily so that J.J. is that great of a running back, personally. Like, he's had some great games, no doubt about it, but, like, I don't know if his impact changes the trajectory of the Eagles going forward.
Well, the worst he could do is
Suck.
yeah, like
because you do still have Blunt, and
Yeah.
one of the big benefits of Ajayi, which I was reading up on, is his pass protection, which has been needed for the Eagles, especially in the running back unit since Darren Sproles got hurt. So that will be beneficial to you guys as not just a running back getting yards that way, but he can also help protect Wentz a little bit.
Yeah.
and he can be a two-headed monster in like a two-set back, in a two-set or an I where people don't know which way it's going and which running back to prepare for. That it's very. I like that. I like that approach to running if possible.
And we'll see how he does in Philly because I got some numbers, little comparison. So JJ, like we said, not having the best year. That's why we want to see how he does in Philly behind that line with those plays that are being called for him. So far in 2017, at week 8, JJ has 465 yards on 138 carries and how many touchdowns?
2 touchdowns.
0.
That's a bit bad.
So week 8 of last season, 2016, he had 725 rushing yards on 127 attempts. So more yards on less attempts and 6 touchdowns. So he has definitely plummeted this season. But maybe it's the situation, the team he's on. That's why we'll see. Maybe he'll break out when he gets on the Eagles, but that is something that's up in the air.
These mid-season running back trades are always
It could be anything.
Yeah, hit or miss. Like, you never know. You could think of Trent Richardson. AP had a great week the first week, and the second week it was nah. So we'll see.
And
I
this
just-
could just help Blunt to be very like
Yeah.
to be very
Some of
blunt
the
with you.
weight. Yeah.
Ah,
Didn't.
Dad
thank
jokes.
you.
I love the dad jokes.
But yeah, no, I did not know this was happening.
Well, there you go. Breaking news
This
for
is
you.
a hot take for
Trade
me.
deadline was today. There were so many trades that was very hard to come up with today, especially
Yeah.
if you were doing other things than paying attention to football. Like if you have a regular 9 to 5 like myself, I was like, oh my God, I got to check. I have to write
Wonder
notes for the
who's
show
all that?
tonight.
I think
What's
the NFL
that?
is just trying to compete with the NBA and all their moves. They're like, we got to get some sizzle, even if these trades make no sense. Like that Kelvin Benjamin trade made no sense to me.
But exactly.
But
so
we'll talk about that,
for
yeah.
Panthers and Miami, 0 cents made at all. We'll touch on the Giants just because we did actually have a little bit of news today. So they had the bye week. There was a rumor in this bye week.
You love this.
I love it because it's hilarious to me. I know it's so stupid of Eli being traded to Jacksonville, but I feel like it's worth mentioning because it is so funny.
Jacksonville's
And-
got money.
And Jacksonville is actually almost a playoff-bound team.
Yeah.
Like they're actually making it work. We don't know if they will go into the playoffs, but they're doing a lot better than expected.
Yeah.
So the idea behind this trade was to have somebody at quarterback like Eli, who has won 2 Super Bowls and can kind of lead them to that victory, to the path that they're looking for. And Tom Coughlin being there might be a coach. Previous coach quarterback connection, but other than that, what?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
If that happens, that's an off-season move. But I said it before when we were talking about Eli Manning's days as a Giant being numbered.
Yeah.
Eli Manning is still worth a lot of money to a lot of other teams, including Jacksonville.
Is he?
At 36.
Is he? Yes.
This might be a hot take, but I do not think he's a considerable upgrade over Blake Bortles if he is traded in.
I don't either, but I see. Oh no, mid-season, absolutely
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
But I'm saying in the offseason.
Okay.
In the offseason, they make some moves, back up a Brinks truck for him. I don't think he's a trade up either.
Yeah.
But I think they could. I think you could make the argument that he is.
Yeah.
Especially in a market like Jacksonville, where we're bringing in a star. We're bringing in a Manning.
Eli is not going to Jacksonville just for also the city of Jacksonville. Like,
Yeah.
Eli's not going to Jacksonville.
Are you sure?
He's like a Midwestern boy or a New York boy,
Yeah.
you know?
That would be the most New York thing to do, though. Retire to Florida.
I guess.
Jacksonville would be him retire. Like,
I just don't see Eli ever putting on another team's jersey.
Agreed.
I believe he will retire a Giant, and I think that he has said this
I think he
himself.
will retire a Giant as well, but I think he'll be somewhere else before that. Like, and I think the
Okay.
NFL, if the NFL's taught us anything, is that that's all but a guarantee that someone's gonna, if somebody has a great season, a great career with another team, if they still have a couple more seasons in them, but they want a veteran's paycheck.
Those forgotten years like Joe Montana,
Yep.
Peyton Manning,
Randall Cunningham,
years
like
that we like to
people-
forget. They were just like, oh,
Peyton
yeah.
Manning,
We'll just
We'll
forgive you
ignore that
for
he played for
those,
those
yeah.
teams. Yeah.
like,
That's true. It's very true.
I mean,
You're
Hopefully not Eli.
like Super Bowls aside, where do you think Peyton Manning? Where do you think, like, if you had asked me in the middle of his Colts run, would Peyton Manning ever
Right.
go anywhere else ever? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I think Eli should just pull a full circle and just go. The last team he plays for be the Los Angeles Chargers, and just go back to
That would
draft
be
day.
hilarious.
And not even Los Angeles, because who knows how well the Chargers are going to fare in LA. Let's bring the Chargers back to San Diego, and let's bring Eli Manning full circle
That
back
owner
to
would have
where
to-
he almost belonged,
That owner would have to pay his bills in San Diego. Ho!
or get a new stadium other than Colcom. Okay, so Giants, they got the Rams coming up. I mean,
They could win.
yeah,
It could happen. I
I
wouldn't be
have
shocked.
Rams for so many reasons. I mean,
I think the Rams. I have very selfish reasons for wanting the Rams to be good, and it's mainly because I want, in the event. I live in Los Angeles and I'm an Eagles fan, and I'm already going to get to see the Eagles play the Rams once. If the Rams could possibly be a number 1 seed to our number 2 seed, we could have an NFC Championship game at the Coliseum, and I would really want to see that. But that would require the Rams to be a bit better than they objectively are.
I actually think the Rams are really good. I think that they're legit this season. They made some great offseason moves.
Yeah.
Wade Phillips, defensive coordinator, Sean McVay, head coach. The way that they're utilizing certain players, Tavon Austin is now running the ball a lot more than receiving. Like, they got it going on. I'm
think
happy for them.
their only issue is that it's the second half of the season and the Seahawks are like going to dominate now. So it's going to be kind of tough to keep pace with them, I think. I think the Seahawks are about to do their thing.
Again, with divisional stuff, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, the Rams absolutely sucked last year. I mean, they
Right.
pretty much
Yeah.
sucked. And didn't they sweep the Seahawks? Or they went to
They
Seattle
always
and they
play
still
the
beat them?
Seahawks well. But
Exactly.
the other games in keep pace with the Seahawks.
If there were two
Yeah, if they got to
games
play
in the
Seahawks-
season,
If Eli got to play the Patriots every game, he'd be great. But the
Okay.
Rams could play the Seahawks every week. They'd
And
be great.
if the
on
Eagles could
that
play
note,
these past 8 people,
while we are on the Seahawks, we can go to a little segment we want to do if we have time for Around the League. A few fun stats to throw out there. So Russell Wilson is now 12-0 at home against AFC teams since he was drafted.
Wow.
With the win against the Texans. How impressive is that?
I mean, especially this last game, he stole that one. That was
That
nasty.
is insane. We also have the Lions falling to 0-7 on Sunday Night Football with a loss to the Steelers. And Juju Smith-Schuster, I'm loving him this year. He's
Yeah.
such a good rookie story. He becomes the record holder of the longest Steelers franchise touchdown as a rookie at 20 years old, 97 yards. So we had some good stuff going on around the league this week. What do you guys have as a top moment for week 8?
did he graduate college early? Like, if he's 20, how does that even happen? Did he start college at 7? He must have started college when he was 17.
Well, he doesn't have his license.
Yeah.
Guys, should we do a conspiracy theory? Do we think that he's actually maybe 17 and they just like forged a birth certificate?
That's definitely what happened, without a doubt.
You heard it here first, guys.
What gymnastics team was it in the
Wake up,
Olympics
sheeple.
Oh, wait, you're right.
that they had underage athletes?
Shout,
I mean, Juju, once you got your license, is it because you're 17? Just throwing it out there, guys.
shout out to Juju though. He has maximized the
loving
touchdown
this, yeah.
celebration creativity this year. This is a great first year for him.
He has upped it to a new level. So around the league, DeAnjilo is going to take it away for the trades.
Yes, I mean, we talked about the juicy trades already. Kelvin Benjamin is a head scratcher. Also, full circle, the Bills traded away Sammy Watkins, and then you get Kelvin Benjamin after. This is proof that they wanted to give up on the season, and now they're like, hey, I guess we're good. We should try now. So we'll see why they did that. And I don't get why the Panthers traded Kelvin Benjamin. The weakness is receiving. I'm confused. So that trade, the J.J. trade, is great for the Eagles. Don't get it for the Dolphins. But those are the two biggest trades that I remember, and we've kind of touched on it. So we'll see the impacts that it makes going forward.
I can actually give a hot take on the New England trade.
Oh yeah,
Hot
forget about that one.
take.
Yeah,
I think we need a little jingle every time someone's
Can we
got
just
it.
get Jimmy
I'll make-
Garoppolo's face up and just stare at it for like the next 3 minutes?
I think I will make a quick hot
That was a
take.
joke. Okay, what's your hot
But-
take?
All right. To play devil's advocate,
Okay.
maybe Jimmy Garoppolo's not going to be that good, and maybe he's only good because he's in the New England system.
I mean, what makes you say that? Matt Castle?
Bill Belichick?
I don't know.
But
The
like-
man, the myth, the legend.
But
Right.
part of this devil's advocate means that Tom Brady anywhere else wouldn't be as amazing as Tom Brady is.
Maybe not as amazing, but he'd still be pretty good.
He'd still be pretty good, but he wouldn't be
No, it is
like
a
the GOAT.
circumstantial thing for sure. I
But
agree.
it's very circumstantial, and I think there's a lot of evidence behind second or third string quarterbacks from New England getting traded away at other places and just kind of laying an egg at other places.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, New England gets better and better draft picks.
And not playing well for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
Matt Castle. So,
I mean, you're right. But I don't know if Belichick would be able to get away with the receivers he has if he didn't have a guy like Tom Brady. Like,
Definitely.
Yeah, because Matt Castle, he had Randy Moss that year. Like, you know what I mean? Like those guys. So I think they both partner well, but I definitely think they'd be worse without one another for
the
sure.
Patriots are just a puzzle,
Yeah.
and each piece is as important as the next.
Yes.
But
you
that's
need the Bill Belichick, you need the Tom Brady, you need the receiver. I mean, the fact that Bill Belichick can take a Julian Edelman and take a Chris Hogan, who played lacrosse in college,
Right.
and make them these top caliber receivers is incredible.
But to expound on your metaphor, if the Patriots are a puzzle, San Francisco just traded. San Francisco just
I'm not
traded.
all that good at metaphors.
No. This is actually a perfect metaphor. San Francisco had their puzzle. New England has their puzzle. San Francisco just traded gave New England an actual piece to their puzzle set, and then took one from the New England puzzle set that's not going to fit anywhere.
I love how in-depth
This is
this
getting real deep.
metaphor has
Well,
gone.
let's
Explore
let
metaphors,
the 49ers,
y'all.
They are 0-7. Let's let them have optimism. Jimmy Garoppolo will work out. No, we're not going to take away the positivity for them. This is a great week and probably the best week they'll have the rest of the season.
Okay. There we go. Seeing as we have about 2 minutes left, let's do speed round predictions, starting with Eagles, Broncos. I'm taking the Eagles.
I'm taking the Eagles, but I'm pretty close to I think if I were able to look at this a little more clearly, I'm kind of scared of Denver this year. I kind of like Denver in this game, but I'm going with the Eagles.
Because their defense, but their offense kind of sucks, and your
Trevor
defense is good
Siemian's
enough that
so
you guys are
bad.
going to hold them.
Also, Brandon McManus, Temple U.
I am
Go
picking the
Eagles.
Broncos. A dream scenario is that Brock Osweiler touches the football today, this Sunday.
Oh, I like it. I
Yeah,
like it.
really
There
like
has
that.
been speculation.
Full
Let's get
circle
Brock
there.
involved. Okay, Cowboys,
Hilarious.
Chiefs. I'm not being biased. I'm taking the Cowboys, despite Ezekiel Elliott suspension being probably reinstated. I'm taking the underdog story. I like our odds. I like our offense, and I think our defense is making improvements. It's going to be hard to hold Tyreek Hill and Kareem Hunt, but let's see what happens. Kind of feeling good about it.
Kansas City.
I mean, come on.
Andy Reid against Cowboys, forget about it.
This is perfect. I like it. So,
I
say
actually-
Kansas
I'm
City.
going Cowboys.
Don't
No,
do
I-
it.
Because you guys, you have a vision. You're going to keep pace with the Eagles. I think it's going to be interesting. And you guys have a game coming up.
I think
You
so
gotta
too.
win.
Exactly. 2-game win streak.
Yeah.
Have the vision. We're fighting for something now. Okay. Redskins Seahawks. I have the Seahawks because they are on a hot streak. Their offense looks incredible right now. So that's really, that's what I got.
Seahawks.
Skins. I'm probably not going to never not pick the Skins. Just
There you
let
go.
you know. Yeah.
Okay. Giants Rams. Kind of touched on this earlier. Rams for every reason in the book.
Rams.
Why was that so questionable?
No, because the Giants have a lot to prove right now. The
And they're
Rams
coming off a bye week.
The Giants have a lot to prove. They're coming off a bye
Beat the
week.
Broncos.
The Rams aren't as good as I'd like them to be for personal travel reasons.
Eli needs to prove it because he's been traded to. He's rumored to go to the Jaguars.
He
which
needs
is
to-
why I'm picking the Rams.
He needs
If
to
I
up
say
his
that
price tag.
if I say that Janoris Jenkins doesn't play Sunday, does that change your opinion? Because he actually was suspended indefinitely by McAdoo, because I don't know what's going on in that
That is
organization.
There's a
not
lot
why I'm
going
not-
down on
That is
that.
not why I'm not picking the Giants.
Okay.
Just letting you know.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us again this week. That was Week 8 in the NFL here at AfterBuzz TV, your NFC East reactions and updates. We are here live every Tuesday, 6:15 p.m. Pacific Coast
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
Make sure you check us out. My name is Jenna Bussiere on Twitter at Jenna_Bussiere.
And I'm Steve Kaufmann. You can find me on Twitter almost exclusively at Steve Kaufmann. That is KAUFMANN. I will be live tweeting from the game. Well, at the game. While the game happens. I won't be at the game.
Are you going to the lake?
I'm not going to be
What's
at the game.
happening?
No.
Okay.
I will be live tweeting as the game
When the game
happens.
is
I'll
happening.
feel like I'm there. Really good TV.
Well, I'm DeAnjilo. You guys can hit me up on Twitter, on Instagram, on Twitter at DeAnjilo TV, and on Instagram at DeAnjilo. I'm still a Redskins fan. I'm not going anywhere. So we'll see what happens.
Thanks, y'all. I can say y'all because I'm from New Jersey, but I'm a Cowboys
Y'all.
fan. So I
South
can say
Jersey
y'all.
I hate that jersey.
You can't hate Dak.
Bye,
All right,
guys.
I don't know if we're off yet. I don't
We
know.
out.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later, go Cowboys.
y'all.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.